It's the home team, y'all. Yep, I stole that from Valuetainment. It's the home team. We're about to talk about the collapse of the banking system and how William is so handsome. And how Manuel's not even Mexican.
I'm not.
That's so crazy. Yeah. What's up, gents?
What's up, man?
You guys make some sales today?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. Not only did I make some sales today, I brought in 2 new applications, so let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Since you're like brand new in the mortgage career, like how has this like experience been for you?
Yeah, man. It's been awesome. I mean, when I first got in, I thought it was gonna be a really easy. Just everyone wants to get a loan, and they're great people. And it turns out that that's what I was talking with him earlier. Everyone who applies seems to
not qualify.
They're very difficult to deal with. But ever since I got on your team, everything you've given to me, and it's been great. So just keep coming in here every day, on time and stay late, and I feel like I walk away with something every single day. So.
Yeah, the mortgage industry is brutal, man.
Yeah.
Like it has such a high failure rate, but you just got to stay consistent, and then it just all kind of works itself out. How do you feel like? What do you guys think is going to happen with all these banks collapsing?
Oh man, I get a lot of phone calls of this, especially the last couple of days. People are telling me, oh, I don't want to make any moves right now because if all the banks are failing, like why am I going to go purchase a house? Well, check it out. It's not all the banks that are failing. There's a couple banks that made some really bad decisions, right? And so now they're failing. We're not failing as far as when we're looking at mortgage-backed securities or anything like that. So I think it's a great time to still buy and build that equity in the property of your dreams, or get you into the house that you deserve. That way, yeah, rates are a little bit higher right now, but here in a few months, a year down the road, we're going to go ahead and get you refied to a smaller rate or cheaper rate, less monthly payment and stuff. I think it's a great thing where the banks are at, because we're kind of seeing the flip side of what's really going on, if that makes sense. Like people are out there spending people's money because they think they're just going to be living lavish lifestyles, and they finally got caught up in it. And now, because that happened, we're looking at a market that's kind of flipping a little bit backwards, a little bit faster than it's supposed to, I think, but it's later than it should have happened.
Yeah, people were living off the fumes of all the high rise of cheap money,
Mm-hmm.
and that just wasn't sustainable. I think the marketplace kind of deems Jerome Powell as a villain because he keeps raising rates, but man, he had to get inflation under control, or everyone was going to lose 80% of the value of their funds. With the SVP collapse and all the banking system kind of taking a turn, we actually released a few videos talking about this. I don't know if it was on this podcast or my crypto one, where I was talking about if everyone just ran to Wells Fargo to get their money out, like Wells Fargo would collapse too. But the SVB situation was pretty unique in that they didn't have a chief compliance officer.
8 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Or risk officer, yeah.
Risk officer.
Yeah.
And they just ran into like liquidity issues because people were just trying to draw their money out too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know what happened? So
No.
essentially this bank bought a bunch of bonds, a bunch of like 2% bonds,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you take out a bond and it's paying you 2% and you're paying your depositors 0.5%, you're winning, right?
Right.
Well, because rates went up and now you see like everyone hates high rates, especially in our game, in the lending game, but like high rates tend to yield higher yield savings accounts or short-term bonds. And so then people that were getting paid 0.5% decided, hey, why are we in this account when we can pull it out and go put our money in a high yield savings account or in a CD? And so now those short-term bonds, right, those become more lucrative. And when enough depositors go to try to pull out their money, well, they would run into liquidity issues because most banks only keep about 10% of the deposits.
Okay.
So what ended up happening is they had to sell all these bonds that they had, all these 2% notes. And I don't know the exact percentage of the notes, but likely they were 2% notes. Well, who's going to buy a 2% note when the going note is almost 4%? Nobody, right? Mm-hmm. So like they had to sell it at a loss. So this is what like caused them to collapse. The lending practices are probably like what saved a lot of the economy in 2002 because so many of us were just refi. I think we're in for a refi boom. What do you think? Like, what do you think you would do if you made $1 million next year?
Oh man, if I made $1 million next year, I've got plans, big plans. my big plans are to definitely pay off all my debt, and my wife and I were gonna, put things off to the side. We're not gonna go on a spending craze because, we don't know what is really in store for the future, right? So we'll probably invest, probably more into gold and silver and stuff like that. But
Gold and silver is hot right now.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm buying real estate for sure. Trying to, like how you're doing with Victoria, trying to set generational wealth for your kids. Set up each one with their own home or condo down the road, like you said that you can.
Hand them the keys to a
Exactly,
business.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that would be my key. We get really into investing in crypto the last 2 years, and then now that where we're at right now,
Yeah.
now that's
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah, so we're kind of regretting it right now, but we're holding tight. So yeah, we'll see, but definitely real estate is where I go if I had that.
Yeah. $1 million in this industry is pretty obtainable.
Oh,
Right. It's about $100 million in production. That's not that hard to get when you think about that's 200 clients that you need to serve at about a $500,000 price point, which in Southern California is all over the place. How many houses are on Zillow for sale right now?
I don't even know, honestly. But what I can tell you is that we had a client this morning. There's that new program that's rolling out with CalHFA. Had a client this morning that I'm working with Jeff, and they're qualified, pre-approved at 425. Now we can get them at 500 and a little bit over. And went from a search of 10 houses that were fitting their criteria. Now we're a little over 250 houses.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we got that $100,000 from CalHFA coming. I was talking to my coach. I was like, dude, I feel like a preacher in the Christian church. I'm having to tell everybody the good word of CalHFA. Like, holy, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for these people.
mm-hmm.
But it's pretty awesome. What do you think is going to happen in the real estate market?
I think it's going to start to get flooded with buyers. I think that's what's going to, personally, I think that's what's going to happen. More people are going to be qualified now, so we're going to have more people out shopping. I think the housing price might go up just a little bit since we have a little bit more competition. But I'm only a few years into the game, so I'm still learning myself.
How's your experience in the military helped you with this transition?
Oh man. Semper Gumby, right? Always flexible. That is the one thing that I take everywhere with me. So I'm always able to pivot. We pride ourselves in the family being able to pivot too, going from one thing to another, because in this industry, a lot of things change. Like today, we get that news about CalHFA, that $100,000. Well, now we're pivoting, going back and talking to folks that didn't quite qualify as much or could get a little bit more. Or we're going to end up pivoting over to a refi boom, but still having to adapt and overcome the influx of all those applications while maintaining our quality control for our new purchases that are happening. So I think accountability has been a big thing, and drive.
No, when you were in the military, did they teach you how to work out? Because it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, no. No, they definitely taught me how to work out at least twice a year. Okay. So we had our physical fitness test twice a year, and as long as you pass that, you're good to go.
What are the components of the physical fitness test?
Oh, it's different now than when I was in. So
what do they make you do now?
They do planks now. I think they're doing sit-ups and push-ups. I don't know. I'd have to ask some people. That's just on the Navy side, though. Marine Corps is a lot different. Army's got the AQFT or whatever it is, but everybody's standards are a little bit different. But I would definitely say the Marine Corps definitely has the best standards, hand down. Yeah, it's a mess.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a mess.
What's your take on the current state of the U.S. military?
Ooh. There was a hearing. I don't remember what the hearing was on, but I saw a clip. And the senior enlisted leader for the Marine Corps was actually responding to somebody's comment. And what he said was something to the effect of, everybody has been changing the standards all throughout this time to help keep people into the military. But the Marine Corps is the only one that hasn't changed any of the standards. I thought that was pretty fire. I don't personally believe in making the standards easier or trying to lower standards to keep people in. I think we should definitely keep that higher standard in the military, and instead of looking at standards to keep people in, I think we really need to look at quality of life and the way that the service members are being treated on the inside. So, but I know that kind of spun in a completely different direction.
Yeah, it wasn't as fun as I thought it was gonna be.
Look, man. Look, I loved being there when I was there, but I tell you what, there's a lot of things that can be fixed, and unfortunately, I think our legislators are looking at things in the wrong way.
What do you
Wrong
think
spot.
about this war that we're in?
Fucking nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense.
How so? I don't know shit
look,
about global policies. I just
I
found
don't-
out about Russia. Like I was like, what? Who's that?
Okay, let's take a step back. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on as far as on the war goes, but we had a presidency for 4 years where there were no new wars at all. It was fantastic, and regardless of where you stand politically, I mean, that's pretty fucking amazing. In my eyes, anyways. I mean, that's time that people get to spend at home with their families, that we're not
100%.
forward deployed. You know, I mean, we still have troops that are forward deployed regardless, but now we're talking about, I mean, we're sending tanks and stuff to this other country. That's millions, billions of tax dollars that are going out to this other country to help their war effort for whatever reason. I'm sure there's some underlying things that I don't understand politically, but I want nothing to do with it over there.
Yeah, it's always a bunch of distractions, man.
Yeah, it's
What do you
got,
Trying to
think?
get everyone to
What are they distracting us from?
from what's going on here.
What's going on here?
Just I think that there's always a distraction to get you to look the other way, while internally, our government's kind of just.
What are they doing? What are they like? What's going on? You can't be vague like that. What's going on?
I have an idea. How about you tell us what you think's going on? You're asking lots of questions.
I'm a chipmunk, dude. I don't know anything. I know how to get people in the debt. That's about as much as I know. What do you think's going on?
Well,
The aliens?
I think we're in a better place a couple years ago. I think we're stuck here for another 18 months, and then we'll see where we go from there.
I get it. You're Trumper. But what's going on? You haven't specified. What's happening?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I just think the whole country's going downhill.
How so?
I don't get too into.
No,
it.
be specific. Be specific. Like, how is it going downhill?
Well,
What's happening?
okay, so our borders are getting flooded.
By who? By who? By who? I go down to Mexico all the time. I have never seen one person jump a fence.
You haven't?
Never.
Bro, you got to come over to the house. I'll show you tonight. I'll jump one for you. So, here's my take on it. I wouldn't say necessarily that the borders are being flooded. I would definitely say that we are.
Maybe not because of Rio Grande and all the rain happening. Maybe the river got.
It's a little bit
raised up.
higher than knee level now. Okay, but I think that we are giving too many subsidies to folks who haven't earned those subsidies. Right? Like I'm a big fan of take care of your own backyard before you start taking care of the neighbor's backyard. If that makes
100%.
sense.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also a big fan of it takes a whole village to like make shit happen, whether it's raise
I
kids
agree.
or.
That's what we were
make
just
them-
talking about. Having you
Yeah.
guys like right next to us,
Mhm.
fucking love it. It really feels like, this is the best it's ever felt in Temecula because there's like another family that is really in it.
You just like my wife's green chili, bro. That's what
I
it
love
is.
your wife's green chili. Back to what's going on with the United States.
Look, I'm glad you brought that back up here because that's what we really wanted to talk about on this podcast.
I mean, real estate's
Let's
so
politics,
boring.
no. Real estate's not that boring when you
Okay,
think about it. I mean,
know,
when
I
we talk
understand. Let's
about the
keep
boring
going.
stuff that we've got. Okay, so, dude, it really is a big whole smoke and mirrors thing when we're talking about government, and it doesn't matter who's in office, right? Because that one person that's in office, that's the head of the country, the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, whatever you want to call him,
Got no power.
no power. He's there for 4 years, maybe 8 years.
Mark
What do you frickin'
Zuckerberg,
do?
Elon Musk,
I-
Bezos, they're more powerful than he is.
I think what we really need to do is get those term limits set on those folks in Congress. That's what I really think needs to happen.
What does
because
Congress
they're-
do?
What do?
Yeah.
They're the ones that make the rules and the laws. They're the ones that are passing everything for us that
Is
we
there a
have to
reason
abide
why
by.
you're saying this in a southern accent?
I like my guns, goddamn. I done tell you what. Look, man, I didn't even notice that I did that. But they're the ones who are basically running the show, right? So when the House flips one way or the other, they get bills passed back and forth. It's not necessarily Republican or Democrat. They're doing whatever best fills their pockets for the most part. Now, we have a lot of really good individuals in Congress that definitely start out with great intentions, and we have a couple folks out there that are still trying to push the people rather than themselves. But I think after staying in there so long, it just kind of becomes human nature where you just start doing things that are going to benefit yourself more so than the people that you're not really associating with.
Dude, I got none of that. All I was thinking about was a rabbit hole of Senator Kennedy that I just went on.
Wow. Let's talk about this rabbit hole then. Let's find out what's so interesting.
I have
in the
no
mind
idea.
of Tony Bly.
I heard him grill Powell, and I was like, wow, this guy's legit.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
He was grilling him. But you know what? I
Mhm.
give Powell credit for just taking it. He was like, what's up? Yeah, I'm doing this.
Yep. He tried to divert a little bit with a couple of those comments, though. When he was asked.
I think he took it on. I think he took it on and didn't back down.
No, I'll give him that. He didn't back down, but he also tried to get away from saying, you know what, I want people to lose their jobs. Because in the end, when that jobs market shows unemployment numbers higher, yeah, those rates are going to drop, right?
Yep.
So, and that's what they really want to do is, well, they don't really want those job numbers to be up high. However, did you notice? Now, I think you shared a podcast. Who was it? It
was me and Travis.
No, it wasn't you and Travis. It was another podcast that we talked about the other day, but they actually had Barry Habib on that podcast.
Oh, about the attainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
sent you guys that clip with Barry Habib.
I went
Legend.
back. Yeah, I went back and I watched their entire podcast. They were talking about the jobs report, and Barry Habib brought up a fantastic point. Like,
Oh, dude, the immigrants, the illegal aliens.
yep.
You'll love this. This fits your
This fits
this fits your color scheme.
Look, man. So basically, the gist
You know,
of
there's
what was,
never been so many white people in our office. Holy mackerel.
yeah. Why am I the only brown one? I don't even speak it.
Mira, tú no empiezas, güey. Okay,
No entiendo nada.
you were saying about Barry Habib?
Yeah, so Barry Habib was basically telling the panel out there on the, not just the panel, but anybody who was watching the podcast, that the government was just inflating the numbers of
Yep.
their employment
Dumbasses.
schemes. So they're saying that they created so many jobs, right? And it's the best job creation that's ever been, when it's actually not true. And he was showing the difference between the job report and how many jobs were actually created. And we're just kind of getting back up to level. And we didn't really create those jobs this year. They actually took numbers from last year, just kind of swapped them around.
Which really they were fucking themselves.
Mhm.
Because what we wanted a negative jobs report, which would have helped taper inflation and show that inflation was coming down. And so then rates wouldn't have gone up. But because you had a positive jobs report, these dumbasses were like, oh, look, the economy's doing so great. It's like, okay, well, obviously we don't have inflation under control.
Mhm.
And we can't keep having things go up in price or no one's going to be able to afford to live here. And so, boom, right? They're like, oh, no, never mind. As soon as Powell goes, we're going to raise rates. Now, I also released a clip saying there's collusion between the big banks and the feds.
Mhm.
And how convenient that right after that grilling of Jerome Powell, the banks go under. How convenient. Oh, no, now we got to taper him up. You know what? Jobs report. Sorry, yep, we have misinformation. Oh, maybe we shouldn't raise rates.
Look,
Right? The banks are collapsing.
I think it was planned in a weird way.
It was, dude, it's all too convenient. It was all too convenient. But you know what I also know?
Mm-hmm.
This morning, on my phone, I ordered 4 breakfast sandwiches, a bear claw,
Mm-hmm.
a protein shake that was overpriced,
Mhm.
and a cup of coffee that was overpriced. God bless America and Uber Eats.
You know,
Like, dude, I had a cold drink and a warm meal delivered to my office.
Mm-hmm. I just want you to know what I find really funny about that is I thought you were going to say something work related, and I really just wanted to talk shit. Like you were just going to talk about this morning had food delivered because that was on my mind. I was just going to throw it out there, but I didn't want to.
Yeah,
But now
no,
we're
I
here. Glad you
mean,
put
whenever people say this country's going downhill, all these Trumpers or all these liberals, right? Like all these guys start talking shit about America. This is the greatest country on earth. We are living in the easiest time to ever be alive. Ever. You can have a warm cookie, cold milk delivered to your front door. There ain't nothing to bitch about. If you're fucking homeless, There is enough housing to get you into a house, to get you food. There's a bunch of welfare programs. There ain't shit to bitch about. Nothing. If you're one of the millions of people living in the United States, this is the greatest fucking country on earth. This is the greatest time to be alive. And it doesn't matter who's in position of power. No matter what, there's always an opportunity to make money. There's always an opportunity to pivot. Because otherwise, if we live somewhere else, we couldn't even be having this conversation. We couldn't. And that's because the Founding Fathers did an amazing fucking job of setting up a system of checks and balances.
So if they could see it today,
They'd be very disappointed.
they'd be very disappointed.
They'd be very disappointed.
That's our fault as a society, though.
But also, they weren't prepped for fucking Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok.
Well, that's why they left things very vague, right? They didn't know what was going to happen in the future.
Dude, we had a revolution in communication.
Yeah.
No one was prepared to be able to communicate. We're basically communicating telepathically. Like, no one was going to be able to predict this way back when.
No.
And, like, now we have this incredible ability to communicate, to travel, to fucking be together. Like, we're really living in a unique hive. And so, like, no matter what, like, we're doing our best. This is all brand new. You know, you're the youngest dude here. Like, do you still remember flip phones?
Yeah.
Could you imagine your phone, someone telling you you were going to have your phone when you had a flip phone? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
How old do you think he is?
Like 27?
Okay. I thought he was going to say like 22. Like, why would he ask about flip phones? Okay.
I mean, if I ask you, what did you do? Like Morse code?
What the hell? What the Man, I know I'm older, but come on. Yeah, I actually know a little bit of Morse code, yeah. Like, come here, I'll show you. See, it's all front end, back end. That's what I got. What do you want?
Listen, bro, I'll take you down so fast.
Look, man,
I'll take
we've
you
been
down
talking
and I'll
about that
I'll
for
steal your
months
socks.
now. I will throw you that good old-fashioned passionate ass whooping where you get your shoes, coat, and your hat taken.
You can try.
I'm telling
It's
you.
it's gonna take you and all your sailor buddies.
I don't need any sailor buddies.
It's gonna take you and
Got
all
that
your
CB
sailor
can-do
buddies.
attitude. I got you by myself, homie.
I don't want, like, I love the U.S. military, so I thank you for your service.
Hey, thanks for your support, man.
And
I
thanks for
appreciate
doing
that.
this podcast, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Let's go fucking call people and make their dreams come true.
Let's go.